Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2025 Lexus RX450h Plus. Huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description below. So this plug-in hybrid is finished off in eminent white pearl. MSRP is just over $77,000. Now this is powered by the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's paired with that hybrid system along with a CVT transmission. Combined, it pumps out 304 horsepower, 168 pound-feet of torque. Now that power is sent through the all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,700-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. It has a top speed of 124 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 14.5 gallons. You'll expect to see around 35 miles per gallon combined between city and highway, and it also has a total range of 37 miles on just the EV system alone. This also has a wheelbase of 112.2 inches. Its overall length is 192.5. It has a width of 75.6, a height of 67.3, and its ground clearance measures in at 8.1 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling, this has a really nice design, especially with the hourglass design for the grille. It's not quite as prominent as previous models, so we have the bodywork here kind of separating in a zigzag pattern there. This also features distance pacing with the Lexus badge. There's a forward-facing camera too, and then LEDs, which have a great dark housing and design to them. There's also fog lights in the lower section with more gloss black accents, all the parking sensors too, and there's plenty of cutouts to provide cooling to the engine. You'll also notice too, the line from the hood works its way on the top section of the front bumper and goes all the way to the other side, just to give it a great look. Now, moving to the side, this also has a multi-spoke design for the wheels. You'll notice too that there's a few colors on the side mirrors. There's a camera and a turn signal, and then chrome accents, black and the white there. There's a full moonroof up top, and then some more chrome accents for all the window trim. There's also gloss black accents for the door handles too, and then very nice lines that flow down the side. Now this also has a body colored spoiler with the third brake light. The wiper blade is actually tucked up underneath, which is nice. There's LEDs for all the lighting, backup camera, all the parking sensors, and then you can use the button on the key fob or the control up underneath to open up the power liftgate, where this has a good bit of storage. So for its sizing, you can also fold down the back seats too, just by pushing on those buttons there, and that will give you a lot more interior space just depending on the items that you have. And there's also a little bit of storage underneath the floor. Looks like there might be some hybrid components too located in the back, but you have a little bit of space where you could place the charging cable if you needed. And there's also a 3-prong outlet on that passenger side. Now this also has the hands-free option too, so you can use the kick sensor to open and close that liftgate as needed. And then this also has proximity door handles. Now the door handles are fixed to the bodywork, so there's an electronic release on the inside that you pull on in order to gain access. Now this also has a manual adjusting sunshade, so you can raise and lower that as needed. There's Mark Levinson for the audio, lots of leather with the two-tone design, and then storage in the lower section. There's also an additional control down below that you can use to fold down these seats, which is nice. And then these seats also have a combination of leather and suede, so a very nice two-tone design. Now you do get storage pockets behind both front seats. You have vents in the middle, heated and ventilated seats, and auxiliaries on both sides. Plenty of room down below for your legs, and at 5'10", I have about a ½ inch or an inch or so of headroom. Now these are power operating, so you can recline them just to get a little bit more comfortable. Now right in the middle, there's the armrest. You get storage on the back section. You also have cup holders here, which you push on this control and those will open up. And then you do have a little bit of a pillar there, but you have those large windows there to help easily see. Now you do also have controls on the passenger seat, so you can use these to move it forwards and backwards and then recline and incline, which is very nice and helpful, especially when you have passengers in the back. And then up front, the door panel is just like in the back. You have the window controls, side mirror adjustments. For all of the doors, this is the electronic release, pushing it inwards and then pulling it twice out is the manual release if you need to use that for whatever reason. And then same design for the front seats, which are power operating, of course. And then once inside, we're greeted with a wood-trimmed leather steering wheel, which is fantastic. And as we start this up, it will default to the EV setting. So you'll just hear the electronics turn on, but we are in EV mode and we are ready to go. Now this also has paddle shifters, even though it has a CVT. And then on the right side, you'll notice lane keeping assist along with some cruise control settings. And then on the left side, there's volume controls. Now all of these are touch sensitive. So as I swipe my finger on them, you'll notice in the gauge cluster, and hopefully you can see on the head-up display, this is how you can go through all of the information. So by pushing on the button on the bottom here, we're going to look at the gauge cluster. I think it'll be easier to see on camera. You can actually adjust what you want these arrows to be. So right now we have it on the head-up display where we can raise and lower it. And then you have some information that you can go through just by swiping on it here. So you have different settings for the gauge cluster that you can go through and customize just depending on what you would like to see. Now with the controls on the left side, this is how you can get into your Bluetooth and voice commands along with tuning, and then you can push on it again, and now you have tuning, mode, and an audio adjustment to turn that on and off. So it's pretty easy to use once you get used to it, and then you can see all of that information on the head-up display as well. So you have two different ways to view all of that. Now there's a liftgate release along with a fuel cap release. You do have a little bit of storage down below. There's memory seating adjustments. You get one air vent. And then working our way to the infotainment system, you have a lot that you can go through. Now on the left side, there's shortcuts, so you can get into the nav along with your music. You can get into your phone. There's also the energy flow system that you can monitor. You can go into the different driving modes here, normal, sport, eco, and custom. You have seat controls where you can fold down all of them with the push of one button. You have some driving assistance information, so there's a lot of standard safety features for this model. You have trip information, charging schedule. You can go through your all-wheel drive system. And then there's a lot of settings to go through just to customize this the way that you would like. Now, still within the screen, you have the heated seat adjustments, heated and ventilated seat controls. There's also climate adjustments that you can get into, and you can also get into your frequently used. You have your comfort, head-up display, different driving modes that you can quickly access. You can also adjust the rear climates from up front as well, and you have temperature dials, fan speed in the middle, and then volume and some defrosters. Now this also is equipped with parallel parking, and you have a view button, so you can pull this angle up just to see what's around you before you put it into drive or reverse. And then there's air vents underneath that. You have a little bit of storage, and then when you open this up, you get wireless charging with more auxiliaries and more storage. This is actually a pretty deep compartment where you can place items. Now you also have two cup holders, and you can actually push this one farther down, so if you have a taller drink, you can quickly adjust that. Now if we put this into reverse, you'll notice the backup camera with the top-down view, and then when I go into drive, forward-facing camera will pop up. There is also an S setting for sport mode, and then park is located behind that. Now there's traction control with auto hold. There's also this off-road mode that you can push on. It will light up over on that far left side. You do have this EV hold charge control that you can use along with the auto EV and hold there. You have the e-brake just behind that, and then plenty of space in the center armrest there where you can open it up two different ways. You have plenty of space in the glove box, more wood trim accents, garage door buttons are up top, along with the digital rear view mirror. So you have all of those adjustments to go through and get that dialed in. There's a sunglass holder up top, and then dome lights and controls for the sunshade and sunroof, as those are both power operating. And then here's a look at visibility. You have a lot of glass for this SUV, so it's very easy to see. So as we set up behind the wheel now for this RX450, this is the first time I've ever checked out this plug-in hybrid model. I've been in some of the RX models before, but this would be a first from Lexus with their plug-in hybrid. Now, if you're new to the channel, I own a BMW X5 plug-in hybrid, so I have a lot of experience with the plug-in hybrid systems in general. I think it's a really unique system to have for a vehicle. You have several different modes, just depending on how you want to drive for the day. If you're going on a short trip, you want to just use the EV system, you can do that. If you're out on the highway, you can recharge the battery from the engine and just combine, just depending on how you're driving and what you feel you need to do. It's kind of been a game over the last year or so that I've had my X5 with what mode you want to be in at what time. But it's very nice, just again, depending on how you want to drive it. I will say though, with the plug-in hybrid system, you do have to charge it. While the engine can charge the system, if you're on a really long drive, you might be able to get it to fully charged. But with having such a short EV range, 37 miles or so, you can plug this into a normal wall outlet overnight. It'll be charged and ready to go in the morning. So it is something that you do need to consecutively plug in to get the full benefits of the system. You need to plug it in regularly to get those benefits out of it. Other than that though, this is driving very nicely. From the other Lexus SUVs that I've been behind the wheel of, it's a super comfortable, luxury-focused vehicle. This particular model here too is very well equipped, especially for its pricing, closing in on 80 grand. You have a lot for this model here just to give you some nice creature comforts. These seats are very comfortable as well though, and it's just a nice place to be. So we do have height adjustable seats too, so that way you can dial these in to your height. But you have a good outlook over the hood. You sit pretty high up. It's very easy to get in and out of, but you have kind of a high seating position for this SUV. And it's just something that would make for a great daily driver. You get some really good MPG from that hybrid system as well. Handles well for normal turns, just what you would be doing with a vehicle like this. The only caveat I see is that we have the CVT transmission, but you have paddle shifters too, which is interesting to see. So let's give it a minor acceleration. Paddle shifters aren't quite as responsive as I would think, but with this being a CVT transmission, it's just kind of how you would think it would react. This isn't a vehicle that you're really using the paddle shifters all that often, or hardly ever, but you have them there if you need to use them, maybe to downshift or for whatever the situation may be. Maybe you're towing 3,500 pounds with this, you can use those in situations like that as well. So I've put it into sport mode now. We'll give it a minor acceleration. And we're up to speed. I do feel like maybe it should have a lot more torque than the number that I stated earlier, but for the size of this vehicle, that was a minor acceleration and we got up to speed. So I think it's pretty adequate for what this type of vehicle is. And you do have different modes here for your throttle response, EV settings, things like that, just depending on the power that you would like when you get up to speed. Now this also has that front camera that can be turned for automatic or turned on for automatic, so that way when you come to a stop, it will automatically pop up there. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for this plug-in hybrid from Lexus. You have a lot of nice tech features and nothing's too complicated, so it's easy to use and you just have a really nice luxury focused vehicle. So like I said, this is something you can drive every day. You have pretty much everything at your fingertips here with this model. And of course you can get lower trim level RX models just depending on what you would like. If you don't want a plug-in hybrid, you can get those as well, and just what you want out of your vehicle. So you have a big range with the RX lineup from Lexus, and hopefully you've been able to tell just how quiet this is. Now in terms of its maneuverability, let's see if we can do this turnaround without having to back up. Pretty tight steering here. We will have to back up, but it is going to be easy to maneuver, especially with the camera system and the different angles. And then with one last acceleration, that is going to wrap it up for the 2025 Lexus RX 450h Plus. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.